Pending money is clearly a major American pastime. Even when it isn't the greatest pleasure in a man's life, it is apt to be a very real and sustaining one. So it would be silly to suggest that we try to change all that overnight, that we women just make up our minds to stop wanting things. But it might be interesting next time we think we need something new to ask ourselves what we need it for. Do we need it to use and enjoy, or just to help us patch up our personalities? Many of us know a woman down the street who is terribly lucky because she has wall-to-wall carpeting even in her bedroom and a fully automatic kitchen complete with garbage disposal. Many of us envy the glamorous boss's wife or daughter who wears a royal pastel mink jacket and Dior originals and drives her own Eldorado convertible. Maybe those women are lucky and glamorous, but maybe on the other hand, they are going around with the uneasy feeling that without all those possessions, they would just disappear. This is true of thousands of women today in almost every income bracket. Men aren't the only ones who feel empty and insecure, but while men try to feel important by rushing after success, women are likely to try to feel beautiful and useful by buying a lot of beautiful and useful things. We are almost certainly living in the most materialistic society in the entire history of the entire world. And this urge to prove our worth by the expensive things we buy is pretty universal. Empty women are not the only ones. We all have it in us to some degree. Yet most of us who love luxuries and possessions don't love them for their own sake. Often, we have come to want the expensive possessions because our having them seems to say that our husbands are big shots. It makes us feel we have had something to do with their success, because look, they are bringing it home and wrapping it right around us. There would be nothing wrong with this if we hadn't got seduced into thinking we have to have the symbols of success, or nobody will believe the success is there. This might be all right if it really made a man feel successful and made him happy and kept him healthy. But there is so much evidence that the way we are living isn't agreeing with him. And some of it seems to say that men who are working to make a lot of money die younger than men who are working because they like what they are doing. Heart disease is the biggest cause of death today. And metropolitan life insurance studies have found that agricultural workers, skilled workers, teachers, and ministers are the men least likely to die of heart disease. If you start thinking about this group, you realize that these men are probably not driving so hard toward making more and more money. Most agricultural workers are not chafing to be in the city trading shares of Minnesota mining and manufacturing. Most skilled workers know they are at the top of their trade. They let the union worry about their pay raises. Teachers would never turn to teaching if their first interest was making money. Men are not apt to go into the ministry to make a fortune. Turned inside out, probably very few of these men's wives either beg or scold for mink coats. Could this be one reason those men seem to live longer? Each family has just so much money to spend during any one year, and it is largely the wife who decides how this money is going to be spent. The man may not think she does. He may even be one of those old-fashioned men who doesn't hold with such nonsense as a husband and wife planning together. Still, if a wife says, "Dear, we simply must redecorate the living room often enough and plaintively enough," he is likely to revise his budget so as to get the living room redecorated. This is just one proof of how much power we have. Anyone who can get new living room furniture with a little persistence ought to be able with the same persistence to get her husband to give her more of his time instead. But the point right now is who determines how most of the money is spent? We do. So if it is spent in ways that put constant new burdens on our husbands, it is largely our fault. What's so hard about deciding to spend money in ways that give us all a good time instead of a lot of new things to take care of? I know several families who are remarkably relaxed about money. They are always ready to go to the theater or out to dinner if someone suggests it. They turn up in Spain or Mexico or the Canadian Rockies every summer. They have considerably smaller incomes than many of their friends who perpetually go around saying, "We can't afford it." Everyone wonders how they do it. But the secret is simple. These comfortable families always budget their fixed expenses way below their income. If, with pinching, they could afford a 2-bath house, they settle for 1 bath. If they could afford 2 cars, they get along with 1. Whether these are $20,000 families or $10,000 or $5,000, they always budget as if they had quite a little less. Then what's left is surplus to have fun with, and to be extravagant on. Many women will heard this with violent protest, feeling that their family budget is all taken up with grim necessities. There can be times when this is true, but there is almost always a cheaper house that can be made attractive. There is almost always a cheaper car that will get you where you need to go. There is almost always a cheaper dress that will be becoming. Years ago, my husband and I decided I could go out and buy a terrific evening dress, even if it cost $100. I shopped in all the plushiest stores, and I just didn't see anything that really looked like $100. The one I finally found that looked marvelous on me was a draped white jersey which cost $16.75. It would cost $39.75 today, but the principle is the same. I never had more fun in any dress or got more compliments, but then it always felt like a $100 dress. Reduced to its simplest terms, this budgeting philosophy says, save on the big things so you can splurge on the little things. Budget your money so you never have to think whether to have 1 or 2 scoops of ice cream in your milkshake. What we want for our children can complicate any budgeting philosophy and leave a husband and wife teetering way out in space. It seems perfectly normal in America today for parents to want their children to have a better life than they have had. I don't know why we all take such a dim view of our own lives, that our children don't seem to be doing all right unless they do much better. But the chief trouble with that better life concept is that it usually means an easier and more luxurious life. Thousands of couples, as soon as their children are born, buy or build a big house in the country or in some suburb for the children to bring their friends home to. They tell themselves that it was worth doing for the children, but the chances are that father has been home so little the children have often found the house somewhat dreary and would have had more fun with less house and more father. It is almost certain mother would have had more fun with less house to take care of and more husband. A woman who would really rather have a husband than a mink coat or a house in the country has to get it clear in her mind that a definite choice is involved. She cannot have the prestige of possessions and also have a full life with her husband. It shouldn't be a hard choice, for when you look around, the people with real prestige are apt to be the people who live simply and do the important, worthwhile things. Living is important, and making life seem worth living is important, and carrying on the thread of life and love and awareness from generation to generation. Love and laughter and happiness are important because people die without them, and those are a woman's job. Never have they been more needed, and never have we had more free time to devote to the job of making them. Today, women are the lucky ones, I think. It is men who are oppressed, trapped, and belittled. But not, let me make this clear right away, not by women. American men are oppressed, trapped, and belittled by a way of life which they have worn themselves out to create, and are busily killing themselves to maintain. Women have merely aided and abetted them, largely unconsciously, largely without realizing what was happening. But once we do realize, we need not stand by and continue to watch it happen.